The program that you're about to hear contains material that may be offensive to some listeners. Listener discretion is advised.
Go ahead. Make my day.
2, 1, 0.
Hello and welcome to Write and Writer, the official podcast of the Washington Free Beacon, sponsored by HoneyBook. I'm your host, Elizabeth Harrington. You can follow me on Twitter at LizWFB. The Free Beacon podcast is available on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. Please subscribe, tell your friends, and leave a review. Joining me from the right today is Free Beacon Editor-in-Chief Matthew Continetti. You may remember him from such mainstream media outlets as The Atlantic and The Daily Beast. You can follow him on Twitter at Continetti. Hello, Matt.
Hi, Liz.
Further to Matt's right is Free Beacon President and fat-shaming awareness advocate, Aaron Harrison. We're not exactly sure what he does around the office, but he signs the checks, and that's good enough for us. Hello, Harrison.
Hey, Liz. Thank you. And this is a public service announcement. Donald Trump's health report came out yesterday, and people have been shaming him for having a couple extra pounds over the past couple of years. I just think that is garbage.
Shameful.
Save it for the show. Save it for the show.
It's got me fired up today, Matt.
And returning to the program today is the chairman of the Free Beacon, Michael Goldfarb, international man of mystery and licensed Republican consultant. He always keeps our panelists in line. Hello, Goldfarb.
Morning, Liz.
Up first on Write and Writer, after passing Congress, the budget deal is headed to the president's desk, where he's expected to sign it and also declare a national emergency to acquire $6.5 billion more to build the border wall. Some of the money will come from the Treasury Forfeiture Fund, which by law can fund programs and activities aimed at disrupting criminal enterprises. Matt, the media is very concerned about unilateral executive action. I wonder if they've ever heard of Barack Obama.
News to them. News to them.
Right.
Conservatives who criticized Obama's executive actions should look very carefully at this one.
Yeah.
For a few reasons. One is, we do have this National Emergencies Act, and there are 31 national emergencies that are currently in effect. All of these having to do with either foreign policy or natural disasters. This would be the first emergency, which is
both foreign policy and a natural disaster.
Right.
Well, I don't know the natural part of it. It's a policy emergency. It's an emergency declared to enact a policy that Congress has stymied him, and for that reason, it does set a precedent. Should it be upheld in the courts, which it may very well be, because the Congress is just as responsible for this situation as the illegal immigrants and as President Trump, because they're the ones who delegated this authority by this act. And, eventually someone was going to test it, just happens to be Trump. The second concern I have is it looks like they're drawing money from three buckets. One is, as you said, the Treasury Forfeiture Funds. That's fine. That's criminals activity and addressing law enforcement. Another is the Pentagon Anti-Drug Fund. I can see that. That's one of the major problems is the drugs. You wreck the barriers. That forces the smugglers to go to the ports of entry. You can interdict the drugs. The third one, though, is the Pentagon military construction budget. And there I'm a little bit worried just because I don't know what, do we have bases that we need to put into better shape, and is that
we
money
should
going
build some more bases along the border?
Well, and Trump already appropriated money last year to bulk up our military. Still not enough in my view.
Right.
So that one I'm a little bit worried. Finally, my third concern is eminent domain. It's not a concern of the president's. He's made us well aware of that over the last several years. But for conservatives who are supportive of private property rights, the use of the national emergency to take the property through eminent domain of private landowners is concerning. Now, I don't think it's going to be as many private landowners as some libertarian critics of the president, because the basic misconception, as I think we've just talked about on the show many times, is that somehow the wall is from the Pacific to the Gulf. It's not. Right. It never was going to be, and they're just, so and they can build wall on land that the federal government already owns. Now, that's not the entire border, right? But nonetheless, eminent domain is my third and final concern.
Harrison, it is a little bit different, though, than, say, the executive branch rewriting immigration law and putting through what Obama did.
Well, look, sometimes it takes a president to get things done.
Leadership.
There's a little theory out there that I am one to ascribe to, and it is called the theory of the unitary executive. This was discussed in a great biopic about our greatest vice president.
Why did you take him to that movie?
And basically the crux is that when the president sees an emergency, he has every right and every power granted to him under the authority of the United States Constitution to solve the problem and protect the people. This is exactly what President Trump should be doing. And it's also a lesson to everybody else who's worried about, down the line, this sets a terrible precedent. Well, guess what, guys? Elections have consequences. It just makes presidential elections that much more important. Mm-hmm. There should never be another Democrat ever elected in office again. I mean, you look at, we'll talk about this whole AOC running Amazon out of New York City here in a minute.
Right.
But they do damage to this country. Beto O'Rourke yesterday was questioned.
He says take them down.
He says take the existing barriers down, yet they don't want open borders. How is that? How do you square that circle, Democrats?
That will make El Paso not the safest city in America anymore, I have to think.
I agree. And now there is one issue that I think that we need to be discussing, and I think that also under the authority of the unitary executive, President Trump could take action.
You sound like such a scholar when you say that.
This is the community that I live in.
Not that you're not.
He teaches at GW Public Policy School.
As a guest lecturer, as somebody who is respected in the field of academia, I believe that I can speak with authority on many of these issues. Now, the one thing that does concern me about the wall is that if you were going to build it along the Rio Grande River in Texas, which is the longest portion of the border that we're talking about, you have an issue of the river itself being the border. And once you're on the other bank of the river, the north bank of the river, that's U.S. soil. So where do you build the wall there? Is basically the second you get to the other bank, then you're on U.S. soil. And it doesn't matter if there's a wall on U.S. soil or not, like they're already here, unless we cede that territory to Mexico. So I think that's the more pressing issue is Trump needs to either take full control of the river to the other bank, or
then we can build the moat.
And I would say about 30, 40 yards of Mexican territory we need to take back.
Yeah.
Or you need to build a barrier in the river itself.
Or in Mexico.
Well, that's
build
what I'm
the wall in
yeah.
Mexico.
That's what I'm saying.
And then they'll pay for it.
take the border plus 50 yards or so. Yeah. Build the damn wall.
Build the wall there.
Call it a day.
Well, that does solve my eminent domain problem.
Exactly. And honestly, but let's talk about these ranches
problem
down there
solvers.
that have the border crossers leaving their garbage all over the place and then dying of dehydration. They want a border. They would give a couple yards of their territory no problem for safety.
Goldfarb. Thoughts on this?
They say like a little bit of knowledge can be a dangerous thing. I think it's scary that they could be dying of dehydration right next to the river too. That's a dangerous situation.
Medical professionals don't want you drinking directly out of the river without boiling it.
No, I will say the national emergency in this case, I do sort of agree with Aaron. The unitary executive part of that was, outside the borders of the United States, the president is like a god. I mean, he can do anything. He can kill anybody. He can order the military to do whatever he wants. We have rights inside the borders of the United States that do constrain his power. But once you get to the border, he is a godlike figure. And if he declares an emergency and wishes to erect a barrier at the border, that's different than this sort of precedent setting the Democrats are fear-mongering about. Well, they're gonna declare a gun emergency and take our guns? How the f*** is that going to work?
They already set the precedent with Obama doing all this unilateral action. They've already done it.
But on the gun stuff, I don't know. I mean, it was so trifling what they did, what he tried to do with executive action. It didn't amount to anything.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I actually think the better thing to worry about, it's more worrisome, not the gun thing, because you're absolutely right. That, I think, would be challenged almost immediately, and you can't just do that. But say Green New Deal, right? Because President Warren could say, well, look, I got the Joint Chiefs of the Staff telling me that the climate is the number one national security threat to the United States of America. Therefore, the money that we appropriated for new F-35s, sorry, Congress, that's going to go to building the Great Green Fleet, or it's going to be building, we're going to repurpose it to building solar panels. And if this holds up in court, she will be able to do that.
I disagree. One, because we're going to have probably 7 conservative justices on the Supreme Court by the end of this term. So
not this year.
That's a barrier.
Reaper's coming.
But moreover, again, it comes down to this idea of like reordering the economy inside the United States. Declaring a national emergency to build solar panels is not the same as saying, for national security reasons, I want to, do something at the border or beyond the border.
All right, up next, now for news from another Resistance book tour. Former FBI hack and known liar Andrew McCabe is going on 60 Minutes to describe his bureaucratic coup attempt. McCabe said after President Trump used his executive authority to legally fire James Comey, he and his secret society held, quote, meetings at the Justice Department at which it was discussed whether the vice president and a majority of the cabinet could be brought together to remove the president of the United States under the 25th Amendment. In other words, he was trying to overthrow a duly elected president of the United States. Harrison, it's pretty bold to go before a national audience to describe your coup attempt in detail.
Liz, you hit the nail on the head. There's not a whole lot I can add to that other than the fact that this guy needs to be prosecuted for treason. It is a capital offense. I want this guy in the freaking gas chamber or on the gallows.
That escalated quickly.
They use the gas chamber anymore.
I think California.
At the very least, he should be prosecuted for lying to the FBI.
Firing squad, hangman, jury, I don't care.
Bring back the guillotine.
The fact is that I am willing to prosecute this guy to the furthest extent of the law for trying to organize a coup from within a law enforcement branch of the United States government. The Department of Justice enforces law. That is an armed branch. That is almost a military coup. If it is just such an egregious use of his power within the Department of Justice. Thankfully, this never actually happened because there were saner heads. I don't want to condemn the entire FBI because there were saner people there that were like...
No, it's just this bad...
This guy was a bad actor and the toilet needs to be flushed.
They're political hacks. Matt, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, it's a wild story. I mean, he's now just admitting it. I don't know. We're taping this on a Friday morning. I would hope that Rod Rosenstein says he's out by the end of the day Friday.
Right.
Especially now because
Bill
Barr has been sworn in as the Attorney
Right.
General. For the first time, Kim Strassel points out today, we have an Attorney General under Trump who is not touched by Russia and collusion and Comey and all that mess because, Sessions wasn't involved, but in the coup attempt, but because he got embarrassed because he had shaken hands with the ambassador, he recused himself. That created the whole mess that we've been living under since. Now we have Barr. He's there, and one of his jobs is to try to right the ship of DOJ by firing the people who haven't been fired yet.
Yeah, clean house.
And I don't see how Rosenstein can continue his work now that we have an Attorney General, even though he wasn't going to resign with Whitaker there in the acting capacity. It's Bill Barr. He's responsible. And what were they thinking? And that's my question.
Goldfarb.
I mean, to me, it just sounds like, it's like a bunch of guys sitting around being like, oh, the Eagles should dump the coach and we should bring in the new quarterback. And it's like in the locker room.
It's a little more than that. It's a little more than that. And I'll say
plotting these investigations that we've been living with for now.
Yeah, but
years.
their ability, what they were going to get Pence. What was he going to go to Pence? Is he going to go to Pence and say we're
No, that's how delusional and biased they are, though, that they were even thinking about doing this.
Well, my point is that there was a coordinated media campaign in conjunction with these talks.
Yes, they were also leaking,
and the media ran with this. You remember that? Like they would do stories about the 25th Amendment being invoked throughout the cabinet. How possible is this?
Well,
MSNBC ran with this for weeks.
Now we know that they were discussing it.
I like the line from Sessions though about how he preferred the FBI when it was just a bunch of drunk Irishmen, and now you got
one
the
good
kids
thing we're
with
getting
the
out of
nose
the McCabe
rings
book.
and all this. That was a very sensible the serious quote.
Jeff
from
Sessions, great attorney general, he just made that mistake
Right.
at the outset, which really, unfortunately, misshaped his tenure.
All right, up next, Amazon is ditching its plans for a headquarters in New York City. The company said it is done negotiating, criticizing a hostile business environment coming from several lawmakers, including Democratic Socialist Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who the company said was, quote, never Amazon. Governor Cuomo expressed his frustration at a small group of politicians who opposed the headquarters and put their own narrow interests above their community. AOC took a victory lap on Twitter, saying the loss of 25,000 jobs paying an average of $150,000 per year was a day when New Yorkers defeated Amazon's corporate greed, its worker exploitation, and the power of the richest man in the world. Goldfarb, I think I saw her celebrating at the Navy Yard Whole Foods avocado toast bar next to her luxury DC apartment.
No, I mean, this is a remarkable thing. I have heard from serious, intelligent conservatives who thought that this was a boondoggle. As far as the state's giveaways in this, that it really was a sort of crony capitalist giveaway. On the other hand, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez finally has reached some tipping point with, the elite New York media types, where they're like, holy she's a idiot.
Dangerous.
She's a idiot. She thinks that because they didn't give the money away to Amazon, that they can give it away to, I don't know, the something. I don't know what she thinks the money's going to go to. But the money only existed as a discount on the taxes they would otherwise have paid.
Right.
So I'm just fascinated to watch, like, Andrew Ross Sorkin types, people who never would have dared to challenge AOC in public are now like, lady, you don't understand how the money works.
Right.
Well, the mask was ripped off this week when she was finally asked about her opposition to this, and the answer was the money should be going to the education system, to the teachers, to the firefighters, all public employees, because in her mind,
We
in
all
the
should be
socialist mind,
public
those are the only
employees.
people who count, are the
Right.
government employees, the people who work for the state. That is socialism. That is communism. That is who she is. She single-handedly chased $25,000 jobs out of her own state and probably even her own district. I don't exactly know the geographic boundaries of
I don't think
that
it
hodgepodge
was,
of 50 congressmen or whatever there in the New York metro area. But the fact that she jammed up Cuomo on we've all seen these commercials over the years for New York. It's a great place to do business. The Empire State's back. Like, jam that up so hard. And yet you have the defenders in the media today saying that they don't have a Freedom Caucus problem in the Democratic Party. Give me a break.
Wait, if I can just tack on to what he's saying, though, which is this line of hers that, like, we need something that puts our community first, which I don't know what the hell she means, since the polling showed that people in Queens wanted the headquarters, and Hispanics wanted the headquarters, and African Americans wanted the headquarters. But
she knows
but it's
better.
like, it's Trumpism on this. It's this weird, like, through the looking glass version of Trumpism, where the community first, whatever the hell that means.
Well, you have to be willing to work to get one of these jobs.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, socialists want to make you poorer.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
Exactly. All right, now it's time to check in with our sponsor, HoneyBook. Do you own a small business? Frustrated by dealing with back and forth emails, endless paperwork, and getting paid? HoneyBook.com can help you spend less time handling the administrative work and more time doing what you love. The HoneyBook is an all-in-one business management platform for creative small businesses. HoneyBook makes it easy to streamline your process with client and calendar management tools and custom-branded brochures, proposals, and contracts. You can even get e-signatures, generate invoices, and get paid faster, all within one online system. Over 75,000 photographers, designers, event professionals, and other solo entrepreneurs have saved hundreds, if not thousands of hours a year with HoneyBook. And that's why we've partnered with HoneyBook.com to offer Free Beacon listeners 50% off the first year of HoneyBook with promo code WFB. So get started at HoneyBook.com today and use promo code WFB for 50% off your first year. Again, that's HoneyBook.com, promo code WFB. Now it's time to check in with our noted pop culture expert, Cassie Schur. Hello, Cassie.
Hello, Liz.
What's going on?
Well, a lot, as always. So since I'm here on a Friday, and I'm sure you've all already read the Bachelor recaps all week,
Right.
I'll just touch on the high points.
Okay.
The Monday Night Massacre.
Colton cut 7 girls this week.
Man.
So
Is that a record?
I think so. We started the episode with a rose ceremony and ended with the rose ceremony, and then sent a few home in between.
That's a lot.
So
he was actually dumping these girls because he's had quite a few that have dumped him first.
He dumped some of them.
Right. But I'm saying he must be very terrible because you've had many girls leave the show before even trying to get a rose.
Yeah, well,
It's sad.
One of them attempted to sexually assault him this past week, so he cut her loose quick.
This is one of the high points.
The virgin bachelor not losing his virginity to not even a final round skank. So total miscalculation on her part.
But the one high point that will lead us into next week is that as the last 3 girls left, they all left with a dire warning that there are still girls in the house who are here for the wrong reasons.
The wrong reasons.
So he took that very seriously, got very nervous, and next week he will cry literally for 2 hours about it.
And he's going to scale that wall.
Dun, 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 dun.
Finally.
They've been dragging this out and showing this in the promos every single week. He's going to jump this wall like a kangaroo. And
Get
it's gonna
away
be
from
so
the girls
awesome.
here for the wrong reason.
So excited
He's
for
got
it.
to run. All right. What else is going on?
So, according to some new science, taking a girls' trip is good for your health.
I knew it.
Liz, let's get out of here.
Serious. I knew it. I've always suspected this. Now the science is there.
Yes, according to a few different scientific surveys, good friends can extend your life expectancy, lower the chances of heart disease, and actually help you with pain tolerance.
We help you with pain?
Yeah, they did a study where they, I guess, inflict pain on people, and the more you feel, the less friends you have.
That's very sad.
I think the biggest takeaway from this, though, so people without friends are more depressed, have later life cognitive decline, and are more likely to die at a younger age, with one study showing that not having good friends is the same as smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
Oh, man. Well, it's just a comfort in and of itself, though.
Yeah. So just keep smoking and get friends, and you're going to even it all out.
It is a good way to
My
meet
health
friends.
advice for the day is get more
Since
friends.
I quit smoking, I don't hang out with friends as much. Yeah, so, what else is going on?
And a hot take on Twitter yesterday. Kim Kardashian posted the most romantic, beautiful Valentine's Day surprise from her sweet love, Kanye.
I bet you it wasn't as good as the Free Beacon tribute to the president and Melania's love. You guys should check it out, by the way. It's very
Andrew
good,
Styles
very touching.
poured his heart and soul
man,
into
those
that
quotes.
post.
My favorite might have been the Bruce Lee.
Well, you just know how much Andrew Styles loves Donald Trump.
It was
So
touching.
I think this was just his way of expressing his love through the lens of Melania's love for Donald Trump
Yes.
too, which came across in those photos.
It's
You could just see
powerful.
in her
It is
expression
strong, yeah.
how much she's.
Did he love her enough to get Kenny G in the Rose Garden playing her music?
Oh my gosh! Wait,
That
so
was,
what?
oh yeah, go, you haven't described the gift.
Yeah, what's
Yeah,
the,
so she posts this video, and Kenny G is standing in their empty living room, surrounded by single vase roses, playing music, and he's like right in the middle and can't escape.
So that's what Kanye did for Kim?
Yes.
Wow. Now that's
Brent took-
rock solid.
Brent
love
took me
too.
to Popeyes last night.
That's awesome.
So you tell me who was more loved, me or Kim?
I think he also gave you chocolates that I got in a free swag bag from
I don't
the
eat
dinner
chocolate.
the other night. Well, there you go.
It was such a mess, though. That whole, the setup. The only
didn't
way
see
you
it.
could pull that off is if you have servants to clean it up. There was
Wow.
1,000 single vase roses.
Yeah,
It
he's
was-
got time for that.
But, I'll tell you, if Kenny G, if I found that motherfucker in my house, he's not walking out of there alive. That would have been the most
I
offensive
didn't know you
thing.
have such a beef with Kenny G.
Have
What's
you
the
seen
problem?
this guy?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Rose 10.
He's got a lot of good sax puns, though, on Twitter.
Oh, he's fire on Twitter.
All right. Well, thank you, Cassie, for this much-needed update. Up first in our culture round, fancy water bottles costing as much as $50 are becoming a 21st century status symbol, The Atlantic reports. Quote, I was scrolling through websites thinking, which of these swell bottles looks like the kind of person I want to be, said Monique Mongeon, an arts educator in Toronto. 9 years ago, there was only one swell, and it was blue. Now you can get the curvy steel cap bottles in more than 200 size and color combinations. The big ones will hold an entire bottle of wine, and smaller versions are made for cocktails or coffee. They're a common sight in Instagram photos of artfully stuffed vacation carry-ons, but they're not just for chicks to strategically place in their Instagrams. Yeti and Hydro Flask have continued to court a more masculine audience. Mike Ferguson, a 37-year-old in Los Angeles, has 4 Yetis of various sizes that he uses for iced coffee and water. Quote, I have very few vices, but this is one, he says. Matt, I'm pretty sure this is a sign of societal collapse.
I love my plastic water bottles.
Oh, you have a plastic
throw
one.
away.
Oh.
I just stopped. You know, it used to be people drank tap water. Then we went to the bottled water revolution, which happened in
and of itself
in the
is kinda
90s. That was the
crazy.
90s. That's where I stopped. I'm stuck in that time period, and so I go through.
You don't have a trendy.
No, I go
swell?
through half a dozen of these water bottles. I'm just because I'm doing my part to degrade the environment.
That's good.
You know, as Michael Goldfarb put it to me, we only have so much time on this earth, and so the question is, what are you doing to destroy it?
It's very, very powerful. Harrison.
Yes, the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Thanks you all for your contributions.
Do you have a reusable water bottle?
No, because I would lose it. The reason
I lost mine.
Yeah, see,
I can't find it. I had a nice swell and it's gone.
There's 2 things in this world that I never carry with me because I do not trust myself to take responsibility. I'm okay with sunglasses. I'm down to losing only 1 pair a year now. But the fact of the matter is that if I walk out the door with either an umbrella or a reusable beverage container, it's never coming home.
Toast. It's gone.
It may not even make it out of the car, and if it does, it's not making it back into the car.
These are so expensive, people are probably stealing them and selling them on the black market.
I totally agree with that. I would be maybe it could be a boom industry. Who knows?
Goldfarb?
I mean, the whole thing about a drink is you want it to be fresh. You want to pop your can of Coke in the morning. You know, you want a hot coffee that come from the store. You want a fresh can of beer, or you want a scotch on the rocks. Why the would you carry around a bottle with a drink that's been sitting there for 7 hours?
But you didn't name water.
I don't really drink water. I don't drink water.
There you go.
No,
why would anyone drink water?
That's your issue.
No, Mike has been a water truther for a very long time. He knows many renal
water
specialists.
My dad is the king of the water truth movement.
Wow.
And he's right. It's bullshit. The body is designed to turn whatever you're drinking into water. That's what the human body does. The idea that you need to put water in, it's a lie. It's a total lie.
Thirsty?
Then drink whatever the you want, and your body will take the water out of it and give it into your system. And
if I had to choose
and then
between,
you will micturate the rest.
If I had to choose between the side of Goldfarb and Michelle Obama, I'm picking Goldfarb.
Boom.
All right, up next, a shocking study has found junk food is linked to earlier death. The Journal of the American Medical Association reports people with diets heavier in ultra-processed foods are more likely to die earlier. Researchers also found a link between junk food and younger age, lower income, lower educational level, a greater likelihood of living alone, a higher body mass index, and lower level of physical activity. Over 44,000 adults participated in the 2-year study, and not everyone made it. 602 of the study participants died before it was over. Researchers recommend instead of sugar-laden granola bars, potato chips, frozen pizza, and pretzels, consider choosing carrots, apples, and bananas instead. Harrison, maybe we should take our chances.
Yeah, I'm willing to take some chances on this one. Look, moderation, that is the key. Moderation and routine, that is the key to longevity and good health, which brings me back to the president's health.
Thank you. This is where, because he disproves this theory.
The dude subsists on McDonald's and KFC.
It's all about genes.
He has the best genes.
Exactly.
Okay? Right. The best blue jeans. Oh, he's never been caught dead in blue jeans, to be honest.
Are you kidding? Yeah.
But no, he is a
Embarrassing.
genetically
Not like our
superior
former
human
president.
being, something we should all strive to achieve in our life. We should try to get that genetically perfect, like Donald Trump, who will probably live to be 120 years old and may still be president then. But the fact is that Trump has been disproving this nonsense for a very long time. Now, I'm going to do my small part here, and I'm going to try to integrate a little bit of a plug for the Free Beacon store, okay? Spring break is coming up, everybody, and we have our Right and Writer I Like Beer t-shirts available for both the ladies and the dudes.
They're awesome. They're
And
so
let me tell you,
comfortable.
because spring break is coming up, those are the perfect spring break shirts. They are going fast. Inventory supplies are low. I can tell you right now that we are already completely depleted of our supply of women's extra large and women's double extra large and women's regular large. In fact, we may not have even ordered those in the first place because we want our people wearing the I Like Beer pink ladies tank top to win every wet t-shirt contest down at spring break.
Wow, thank you, Harrison. Good plug.
What can you add to that?
I know. All right.
I don't even remember where we started.
Junk
Junk
food.
food's
Oh,
bad.
yeah.
But he is. I mean, he has. Well, there is one more. He has gained 4 pounds, according to the doctor. He was 239 in 2017, and now
the
he's
relent-
243.
The relentless fake news coverage, he's got to cope somehow.
Well,
was it
I'm
who
just
said
saying.
they-
Do we think it's only 4 pounds? That's all I'm saying.
I
I'm a
don't
truther
know.
there.
He looks the same to me. I don't know.
I think
He
he's a little
doesn't.
bit
He
bigger.
hasn't aged that much.
No, well, that's right. That's why he does disprove the study because he's gaining weight, but he's still healthy as can be.
I mean, maybe he had a couple extra Diet Cokes in the morning, all right? That water weight, that it's just nonsense. It's a negligible, that's margin of error stuff. Don't worry about it. Sorry, libs. He's going to be living for a long time because the dude's healthy as hell.
All right, finally, doctors are warning of a new danger: showering. Yes, apparently there is a right way to shower and, quote, dangers you could face if done wrong. According to one dermatologist, there are 4 things you need to be doing in the shower to lower your risk of infection, itching, acne, and dry skin. Loofahs and washcloths are to be avoided at all costs because we're scrubbing away our protective barrier against the environment. If you must use a loofah, it should be regularly changed or washed in bleach. But the other danger, according to Dr. Sherry Ingram, is super hot showers because it can dry your skin. Matt, I have few joys in my life, but one of them is a hot shower. Are they going to take that away from us too?
Well, I mean, that's a recommendation. I haven't seen any of the libs, recommend a mandate for cold showers. But you know
remember,
what?
they wanted to time the
might
shower.
come.
The EPA
They-
study I wrote about.
I'll get
They
to
wanted
this.
to censor.
Get to this in a minute. The
Well,
libs
just
are
get
in your
to it.
shower. Oh, okay.
They're in your shower.
The libs have already entered your shower, and I don't know if anybody has ever lived in a building, an apartment building, for instance, that claims to be LEED certified building.
Yes.
Well, one of the things that they put in there is a water limiting shower head, pressure limiting. So you don't use as much water during the course of your shower. There are low flow water or shower heads that they put in there,
Sick.
and the libs are already in there. So
See.
I mean, what's the first thing that I do when I move into a new place? Is I remove the freaking shower head and I put on some high powered fire
Well,
hose.
this
blast.
Right.
this is the decline of liberalism because LBJ loved high pressure showers
Yes,
to
he
the
did.
point where he had a special high power shower head put into the White House.
See, libs used to have
That was
standards.
when liberalism was at its fullest,
Yeah.
bombing Vietnam, granting civil rights to people, and now today,
Yeah,
pressure's off.
Yeah, the pressure's off, and now you just sit there and you can't get clean, and you have to use a higher temperature of your water to get the soiled filth off of your body.
Right.
When if you had higher pressure, the shower would be shorter, and you wouldn't have to crank up the temperature as much to get all the filth off of your disgusting body.
True, Goldfarb.
No, I mean, this is one of the things that makes America great is that we
Long,
have
hot showers.
and frequent showers.
Yes.
Okay, because if anybody's been outside the borders of this country, they're much more conservative in their use of water
And jacuzzi tubs. Now, let's not forget oversized jacuzzi tubs. Definitely a luxury item that everybody should have on their list.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today's edition of Right and Writer. I'd like to give a special thanks to our producer, LB4, and of course, our Free Beacon guests, Matthew Cottonetti, Aaron Harrison, Michael Goldfarb, and Cassie Schur. Remember, find us on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. Just search for Free Beacon. Please subscribe, tell your friends, and leave a positive review. like listener Jake R., who says the new Liz and Cassie show is coming along nicely.
Yes.
Until next time.